Hey, it's Jordan. I am here in Detroit. Hey there, it's Jordan. I am here in Cleveland on the steps of City Hall. Hey, it's Jordan. I am here still in Detroit. Hey, it's Jordan. I am here in Warren, Michigan.
$800 billion system that was funded by the taxpayers, okay, that covers the city of Detroit and 127 suburban communities, okay. This is a profitable water department that was stripped from the city of Detroit with a bankruptcy that was totally contrived, and the result is death. You know, it's a slow death, but it surely is a death.
So we got sold while the bankers got bailed out, we got sold out. That's basically what it is. Emergency management for whom? It's not for the citizens, because this isn't our fault.
It's so important that we not delay, and that's part of why we're here today. What we know from the statistics from the Ohio Department of Health is that every day 4 children in the city of Cleveland test positive for elevated blood lead levels above what the CDC says is acceptable.
The time for meetings, committees, and summits has long since passed.
And over the last 4 years, while they've slashed wages and cut jobs, they've funneled almost $14 billion into stock buybacks that only benefit the richest investors, including Mr. Warren Buffett.
Right now, they could be taking all the trucks plants out on strikes because those plants don't have local contracts. You know they have health and safety problems, they have speed up problems. They could have done that from day one.
They tricked the voters to enact to enhance security in the schools. And when the voters thought that they was enhancing security, they took millions of dollars out the fund and they took an old tore down school and turned it into a police force for the Detroit Public School Police Department.
For too long, the people of Cleveland have been told that real change is impossible. Politicians meet behind closed doors to shape the future of our city to benefit the rich and the powerful. Anyone who questions this arrangement is told that that's just how things work around here, and there's nothing that can be done. But standing here today is a group of people who are not content to accept the status quo.
Now, if you take my dollar, then I ain't got no money. And I'm going to speak it like that. So stop buying anything. And when they go into negotiations, here's the situation. Across the board, we not buying nothing. No cars. Not Ford, not Chrysler, not GM. Not negotiate. I got my money in my pocket.
They went further, the city council. They enacted a law to give themselves half off the property that the people had lost here, and gave their family members half off the property. They immediate family gave all contract half off the property that was taken from people under nuisance abatement, which is the same thing as eminent domain.
And these houses is not being fixed up. Is a rat infested. You had to live next to this abandoned house for years, and now they even petition our own city council to give them money from our general fund to fix up technically property that they own. Okay, while they sit there and tell the residents, you fix up your house in 6 months, and I get to use your tax money and hoard these houses for developers for years to come.
What we need is more democracy, right? And whether your oppressor comes in the form of Putin or Trump or really anyone who's trying to destroy democracy in this country or destroy a movement of the masses to create a better world, that needs to be opposed. I don't care where it comes from or who's doing it.
And workers today are going to have to build something new. It's an interesting historical fact. When the sit-down strike took place in Flint, the first judge tried to get an injunction to force the workers out of the factory, but it was exposed that the judge had 36,000 shares of GM stock. Well, the UAW has 100 million shares of General Motors stock, but it won't recuse itself, because it's in the business of policing the workers.
We can't have a viable city that works for everyone when we continue to host summits, meetings, and avoid passing legislation that ends this lead crisis. As a community, we have sat on the sidelines for far too long.
A clear message for the Democratic Party. If you want folks to support your agenda, you have to come around more often than election time with fancy slogans. This is a grassroots issue.
and we're being treated like second-class citizens here. And then when we speak about issues of race, people get mad and say, oh, well, why are you saying white and black and stuff? Because it is what it is. You have a group of people that don't look like us, that are making decisions and are not including the very same people that it is affecting. And for those people that say we shouldn't mention race, we should, we're being racist and all. No, this is a reality.
He drafted an ordinance which was 9/90/17, and we expected it to be heard. And what happened was a year went past. Council came to our meeting. They promised us that it would be heard, and it was never heard. They never put it to the floor.
Well, I think from the beginning, the poison had already been injected in the body, right? And what I mean by that is, it's almost like when you walk past something, you're working so fast, it's not until you kind of settle down that you notice, man, my hand bleeding. When did I cut myself? So when they did the right to work, that was the prick, right? To bust up the union.
And that's the whole point. We have to think outside the concessions and austerity cage that capitalism has put us in. That is simply it.
So yes, when we do go downtown, the people get stuck. Well, yes, we do go downtown and we complain, and we have nobody to talk to because the people that we did try to talk to have brushed us off. There is no ombudsman that we can go to him, and even then we have nobody that we. So either it be the state, the UN, the World Council in Geneva. I don't know where will we have to go.
It's amazing that the federal government, the state government, and local government don't know what the definition of an emergency is. So having a wall is not an emergency. Having a stadium built is not an emergency. Making sure that we protect young people whose lives will be changed for the rest of their lives, that is an emergency.
I found out later that the trick has been on me. I've been at Chrysler now almost 20 years, and I've seen a lot. And it's always the same, where management want to know, how can I get more and pay you less to do it? That's the ultimate beef.
How is that legal? How is it legal for them to shut off masses of people water and for water bills that's only $50, $60, $100 when we got big corporation businesses owning hundreds of thousands of dollars and nobody says nothing about it? How is that legal when we got stadiums that we spend our tax money for and where we don't even have schools for our children and they take money from our school funds?
So we don't need $8 billion for a wall. We need to use our money to create infrastructure to save our children and to make sure that our infrastructure in our community is sound and that our children are safe.
The populations that are most affected by it and who suffer most from it are poor, are black, are the working class, and we don't cover that in our society. We cover the tragedies of the rich all the time, and for a poor kid growing up who already has so many other cards stacked against them with a racist criminal justice system and an underfunded education system, is being poisoned from birth, and we just don't talk about that.
So you're going to ask about the conditions inside the plant facing workers every day. They're told to go along with what you are doing because there's a lot of other people out there who will come in and do the same job.
We have to go on, and the way we're going to go on is not to produce individual cars, but to produce what we need for the 21st century, a mass transit system. And what does that mean? That means electric buses, it means trams, it means small vehicles, it means railroad cars, and that's something that we can make in this area.
And he has a stronghold on the churches by him giving what they call community benefits to them. He gives property to all the churches in Detroit. He gives property to them. They set up, most of the pastors have set up limited liability companies where they got property in these limited liability companies. They become recipients of prime property and they be in favor of them and they be able to sway the church population in order to vote for them.
You gotta fight, so we're gonna continue to fight, and I hope that people understand that we are resilient and we're not gonna give up, but we want some national attention to this crisis that we are in, and the city of Detroit should not go out like this because we are a great city and we offer so much, we sacrifice so much to the world, and for us to be treated like this, it breaks my heart, and I don't even want to.
This is what we go through. I mean, If it ain't her crying, it's me crying.
The reason CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times and all these places don't come out here, it's not because they certainly have the money. It's because they are living in their bubble, and that's where they want to stay. They don't give a fuck about these people. They don't.